Welcome to another episode of the Nigerian Community Chronicles Podcast, where we celebrate outstanding individuals making a difference within the Nigerian diaspora. Today, we are honored to have as our guest Cllr Simeon Adewole Ademolake, a trailblazer and a figure of immense inspiration. Cllr Simeon Adewole Ademolake holds the distinguished title of being the first Black Christian Democratic Councillor in the British electoral history. His incredible journey of perseverance and service began in Nigeria, where he attended St. Peter's College, Olomore, Abeokuta, and later pursued studies in environmental design and planning at Yaba College of Technology, Yabatech, Lagos. He furthered his education at the Federal School of Arts and Science in Victoria Island, Lagos, before moving to the United Kingdom, where he earned an LLB in law at the University of East London, Stratford campus, and studied CPD learning skills at Middlesex University. In addition to his academic achievements, Cllr Ademolake serves as a pastor at Harvest Chapel of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. He is also the founder of the Arise and Glow Supplementary School, a remarkable initiative that has provided educational support to boys and girls aged 4 to 14 for over 25 years. The school recently celebrated its 25th anniversary on December 1st, 2024, making a significant milestone in its mission to uplift and empower young minds. Living in London, Cllr Ademolake's journey is one of dedication to community service, leadership, and the continuous pursuit of excellence. We are excited to dive into his story, his contributions to the Nigerian and wider community, and his vision for the future. Join us in welcoming Cllr Simeon Adewole Ademolake to the Nigerian Community Chronicles Podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a great honor to be here. I'm so delighted. Please, I hope all of us and the viewers will enjoy the moment. And for the purpose in which this platform is created, I will be very transparent in respect to ensure that we learn from each other. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Oh, thank you, Cllr Ademolake. It's a pleasure having you on the podcast. Well, to kick off the session for today, sir, can you tell us about your journey growing up in Nigeria and your experience at institutions like St. Peter's College, Olomore, and Yaba College of Technology, and how it did, how those formative years shape your path?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Well, it's been a long time now. At secondary school, back in those days, was an opportunity to, we see education very importantly as a way of developing one's life, like everybody else, that kind of a thing. So education for me and my parents, especially, my father was very educated. My mother wasn't that educated. But education has always been, but you will know my mother was clever. She was a very clever woman. Some of the things that she says sometimes, she would just say, my daddy does not believe in sending girls to school. She would have done well in school, that kind of a thing. But my dad was an educationist. He studied well, and he encouraged. We were 9 children of my dad.
Wow.
Of course, 9. Of course, from few wives. For my mom, we're 6.
Okay.
So, but my dad ensured that everybody went to school.
Wow.
So, of course, we went to school. St. Peter's was a very high opener for me. I didn't start my school primary in Abeokuta.
Okay.
It was in Ibadan, St. Williams, yes, in Ibadan. But we later came to, it was the creation of states in I think it was 1979.
That was true.
My dad now said we are going to move from Abeokuta, from Ibadan to Abeokuta, because Abeokuta has now been made the capital. So it was when we got to Abeokuta that I got to go to St. Peter's College.
Mm.
And it was very interesting. Can I call you Mr.
Oh,
Kolade?
please. Yes. Yeah.
It's very interesting because I was a very timid guy.
Wow.
Very timid. I was very timid.
That was a transformation, to be honest.
Yeah,
Because you are not.
extremely timid. I don't get involved with anything. I just, but when we got to St. Peter's College, a lot of things were underneath. A lot of people felt that my being quiet it's not timidity. They just felt it's a confidence that is hidden. So getting to the school, there's procedures that makes the school choose prefects. For you to become a prefect in final year, there are procedures. And because the St. Peter's College happens to be a Catholic school, that procedure has been there for years. Now, the procedure is number one. If you are not a student from year one, you cannot be a prefect in final year. Number two, if you are not an assistant prefect in year 4, you cannot become a prefect because you become a prefect of the assistant prefect that you were in year 4. So if you are assistant guardian prefect, you become guardian prefect in year 5. If you are assistant health prefect, if you are an assistant ed prefect in year 4, you become. So
it's a transition.
From year 4, you know what prefect you're going to become when you get to year 5. And if you are not a prefect in year 4, be rest assured you cannot become a prefect. There is no way you can become a prefect in year 5.
That's a very good approach.
Yes, that is how it works. But I joined the school in year 3.
Okay.
In year 3. So, of course, I didn't even want to become a prefect or anything, but I was studious. Reliability is not a problem. Respect is not a problem. I don't join any group or stuff. We're boys' school. But, I play sport like everybody else, very active. And in that sense, I've got friends. I speak, that kind of a thing. But they were going to appoint prefects. And we were all in class. And they told us in the assembly, actually, before they told us in assembly that there will be interview for prefect. That kind of a thing, just formality that they do every year, that kind of a thing. So, and that was there. And we were in class. All of a sudden, somebody came to the class and said they want to see me in the staff room. So I said, okay, no problem. Went and I got there. They interviewed me and asked questions and stuff. And I thought, okay, yeah, answered those questions. And they said I should go. After that, they just were going to announce the prefect, which will be last day of the year before they're going to offend the prefect. And the principal now said the regulations and the procedures of prefectship in our school for the first time is going to change.
Wow.
I didn't know the line they were going, because a lot of my friends that knew that I was invited for that interview was like, what is happening? This is it can't happen. That kind of. There were so many things going on in school, that kind of a thing. Anyway, then they just said the head prefect of the school would have gone to Simeon Adewole, but because he did not start in year 1, we're not going to do that.
No.
But we're going to give him the health prefect of the school. So, which means we're sorry to tell you that the present assistant health prefect of the school is going to be moved to guardian, and Ademolake will become the health prefect of the school. The old school were like, what? That was
a milestone.
In fact, to be honest with you, Mr. Kolade, that was the greatest transformation of my life.
Wow.
That was the first time that I knew within myself that I have to continue to be who I am and continue to foster, positivity in everything that I do. and ensure that I do not mess about or do anything to the contrary, because I believe, someone is watching.
That's correct.
You never can. Someone is watching, regardless of what we do. Someone is watching, and this is what after they've done that, they called us up, and also that kind of a thing. And the principal said, "Look at all the prefects here. Who do you think is outstandingly dressed?" And all of them shouted, Prefect Ademolake, Senior Ademolake, and that kind of a thing. Tears were almost rolling.
Very inspirational. Very,
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And in all the prefects in the school, the head prefect is not allowed to smack any child.
Wow.
But the principal said the only person that they would tolerate in administering punishment and possibly smacking the children, we will tolerate Ademolake because it's not partial. And that was it. And that changed everything. And that it took me from where I was as a timid guy, and I began to work upon myself and stuff like that until we left secondary school.
Fantastic.
And going to Yaba College of Technology, of course, I wasn't expecting to become the president of the union.
Wow.
It wasn't. I think it started from the planning department. We have the union, the National Union of the Planners. And I remember I had a gentleman, one of my seniors in town planning, that was very active in the union. And he just said I should be his assistant secretary. So, and I didn't mind, because of course that was my department. So I became his assistant secretary. He loved the way I write and stuff like that. And he just said, Simeon, we're going to have a national executive meeting, a convention. Would you like to attend? I said, yes. It was the University of Ibadan. And we went. And there were just very few schools that attended. And there were not enough people to take, the national position. And that was how I was elected as the National Financial Secretary.
Wow.
It wasn't like I planned it. Wasn't going to, but they were, because
the right place at the right time.
No, Yaba Tech was meant to take the national, because the national secretariat rotate from one to another. Okay. But the number of that went from Yaba Tech were not enough to take the national position.
Okay.
So really and truly, we have to cover the president, the assistant, the treasurer, and all those. So the national financial secretary position was just vacant. They now said, Simeon, you are here. Why don't you do it? So we just put my name on it, and that was how I became the national. Not that I was elected or voted; it was just mandatory.
You were nominated.
Exactly. So that I became the national financial secretary of the Town Planning Association. Then that now brought me back to Yaba Tech, to the extent that we have to conduct the national meetings and stuff like that. So I need to be active to make sure that I give financial accounts to the people and stuff like that, and that kind of a thing. And that was it. So in the national meetings, they will invite me to speak, because I'm a national, and I will speak and stuff. And that in itself took me into the politics of Yaba College of Technology.
Right.
I didn't plan it. And I just discovered that we were going to select senators for our department, the town planning department and all that. And everybody just said, Ademolake, and there was no opposition, and nobody was interested in student politics much then anyway. So I became a senator for the town planning. So being a senator, so we have to go to Senate meetings and all those stuff. So I was made the chairman of, what's it called? The press committee. You understand, of the press committee. I was the chairman of the press committee. So every press issues and stuff. So I got connected with the press. So, and that is the most important thing.
Yes.
Most important aspect of the student union.
Yes.
Press determines, in fact, it's all over the world. Press is key. It is key. So the Techo press and all the press and stuff like that, all of them will come to me. Some of their editor-in-chief will tell to me, they write articles about me and stuff like that, and say, you have this attribute of becoming the leader of the Yabatek. And I was like, you guys, you're a senator. When you stand to speak in the House, everybody wants to listen.
Yeah.
They can see and I was thinking, you guys, anyway. Yeah. When we got to HND1, I went to my dad. Some of my leaders, my friends and stuff like that, they started thinking of me becoming the president of Students' Union and stuff like that. But my result was bad. So when I got home, I told my dad what they are planning. My dad said, no, I sent you to school to face your education. Look at your result.
Yeah.
He said, now you can't go and join unionism with this. But the time I got to school, back to school, the whole of Yabatek were posters of Simeon Adewole.
Wow.
There was a boy in my class whose father was a senator or something, very, very rich boy. And that guy sponsored everything. He said, I must be the next president. I've learned so much from you. I must be the next president. Anyway, I went, I told my dad, my dad said, no. It's not going to happen. But in the morning when my dad was going out, I went to him and I told him, I said, Dad, I'm going back to school. And your decision that I should not be active in politics is important. He said, but I've thought about it, Wale. If God says you are going to be a leader, you are going to be a leader. So I came back to school and I gave them my dad's, opinion and his decision that I should continue. And that was how I went ahead into that election and I won.
And wow.
I became the president of the Students' Union. Then they call it chairman, standing committee, and president of Students' Union. So that was how I became the president of Students' Union, Yabatek.
Okay. Very inspirational, very inspirational. And I think I'm very sure with that inciting story and journey, our viewers will be very much interested in knowing what actually inspired your decision as well to move to the UK and how you got to study at Middlesex University and the University of East London, and what influenced your career, trajectory.
Thank you very much. Coming to London was not intentional. Right. I have to say, it wasn't intentional. In fact, in one of the newspapers in Nigeria, I wrote an article, and that article was titled, "Let's Stay Here and Salvage It Together." I had no intention of leaving Nigeria. I believe the struggle.
As somebody has written that kind of title, that kind of piece,
Exactly.
Very interesting.
Yes, it was in one of the Newswatch magazine. It was a Newswatch magazine. Now I believe in that country, Nigeria. I know we had a lot of struggle. I know we had a lot of problems. And being the president of Students' Union, I was exposed to quite a lot of things that I believe strongly that I think were affecting that country. And I'm aspiring that one day I would want to become a leader in the country in order for us to be able to take the trajectory of our focus and aspiration in life. And I felt that, and for that reason, I was looking for leaders that I can join with, I can work with, and in the midst of all the leaders, for instance, Faweyimi, I've worked in Faweyimi's chambers before. With the intention was for me to see whether it's, because you can see somebody on the outside, knowing the person on the inside is different. So I went to work in his office in Maryland. And some of the things I heard then and all that was not, he's a very great man, but for me was not convincing that maybe I want to submit myself into such leadership and that kind of a thing. Do you understand? Because you don't see more of him anyway. So you just listen to some of the things and all those stuff. A great man indeed, but I just felt, but in course of that, I was a little bit on Wole Soyinka, Taisho Larin, all those people and stuff like that. And I could just see my political views were not balanced. That's the way to say it. It wasn't balanced. So I was like a child looking for a father.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find
any. Role model, kind of.
Exactly. Thank you. But the only role model that I found was Professor Ayo.
Okay.
Yeah, Professor Ayo, who is not political. Do you understand? He's not political. So he became like father to me.
Right.
You understand? He was the director of, he's a late now for,
Okay.
yes, late Professor Ayo. He was the director of Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, University of Lagos.
Okay.
You understand? And he's been like a family father to us, even my family as well. So he became like my mentor. So, but eventually when it got to a point that I felt so despondent about the country, Nigeria. And I was thinking, what is the way forward? How can I do this? And majority of the people that I'm meeting, whether in Abeokuta and stuff like that, you can see that a lot of them, their motive is more self-centeredness, even though they tend to appear as though they are nationalistic. Do you understand? So I thought, you know what, I'm not going to do this. Then one day, something happened in the area of my relationship. And I just told my dad that I want to come to London to really find out whether what I heard is true. So I don't want to delve much into that.
Yeah, sure.
But that really motivated my desire to say that let me even come to London. Let me establish the fact that,
explore
that kind of a thing, And things were really, really down for me personally. You could understand that. Even though I was doing well in the area of business, I was drawing building plans, getting approval for people. And when I did my youth service, I did my youth service Bonnie Camp. I had the Bonnie Camp, in Victoria Highland. And the unfortunate problems that started the hawker school was in my unit. So I saw, yes, quite a lot of involvement there. Then I was living in Apapa, and the Apapa, this is military barracks. So there were quite a lot of stuff going on there. That's Tamadu Barracks, Apapa. I was living amongst, the coup was really, really at my doorstep.
Yeah.
Well, it was really at my doorstep. In fact, some of the guys were close and, but everything was just like crashing down. Everything. There was a gentleman, Major Ezeke, that was an architect that were trying to be building a business together. A lot of things began to crumble, and so I just said, you know what, the only option I have is for me to step back from everything and see whether I can relaunch back into the nation. So for that reason, I went to my dad. My dad said, okay, if that's what you want to do, but you've been the person that's been talking about this national development and stuff like that. And sometimes you encourage me also to know that there is a future in a nation like Nigeria. But, now you want to step out. So, that is how some of you that think you have vision for this nation will be stepping out. And what will be left? I said, well, to be honest with you, if I don't fix myself first, I cannot fix the nation. So let me go.
True.
So that was how my dad said, okay, no problem, gave me the money. And by the grace of God, I went to apply for visa. And before you know it, bam, the visa was an indication and confirmation that God really wanted it because I did a lot of fasting and prayer. Good. Anyway, from there, I got the visa and I came to London. But the reason why I came to London was, number one, economical. But the second thing, for me to be able to find, I'm still looking for that role model. I'm still looking. I'm not, but I was in my office one day. I got a job in London here. I started as a cleaner and I became an assistant manager. And I was in my office one day and I was just thinking of, what am I going to do with my life and stuff like that. And my mentor is Professor Adewole, who happens to be in the legal department, legal field, that kind of it. So I just thought, I'm going to go and study law. Number one, to honor him. Number one, to honor. And number two, maybe that will even help me by the time I launch back to becoming political. You understand? More political. So, and I went to study law. So, and I did the University of East London, So I'm with great guys in the class and stuff like that. And in course of me doing that, I started the supplementary education because I saw that there is a decay among the Black children where I was living. So I thought, no way. This is one thing. And initially, at the initial stage, it was like a joke. Do you understand? It was not something serious. It was just a joke. But if I may tell you this, God is
God
really
is
good.
wonderful. Yeah.
I was nursing the intention of starting the supplementary school while I was still studying law.
Wow. That long.
And I didn't know how to start. I didn't know. But there was a church very close to my house. That church has never been opened for one day. Not for one day. Until one day I was driving past and I saw the vicarage lights on. When I saw the vicarage light on, I thought, wow, I reversed quickly, parked the car, and I knocked the vicarage door. A gentleman came out and he said, excuse me, can I help you? I said, I've lived in this area for about 7 years. I've never seen the light of this place on. And I saw it on today. I was wondering. He said I should come in. Went in. And he said, Jeff, what can you really do for me? And I said, you know what? I'm looking for a place to start lesson.
Wow.
For children in this area. He said, what's that? I explained. He said, oh, that would be interesting. He said, so, are you thinking of using this place? He said, have you seen this place before? I said, never. It's never been opened. He said, I should follow him. He took me around the building. I said, listen, even if it's just a little room, at least something to start with. Because that area, most of the black boys, you see them smoking.
Smoking and gangs and all those stuff.
So I said, and the gentleman said, you know what? I've just been asked to come and check whether Church of England should close this building and sell it.
Wow.
Or reopen it.
Wow.
So the vision is his. And when he came, he has just literally knelt down and prayed that if God wants this place to be opened, he should send somebody to use the place. And if God wants it to be closed, then nothing will happen. As he knelt down, was rising up of his knees, the bell rang.
That was you?
That was me. And that day, he gave me the key to that building. Wow. And he told me, pay £5 a month, a week for electricity and gas. And that was how the project started. I did a leafleted the whole place. And I was still studying law at that time.
Wow.
It was the teaching aspects that now took me to Middlesex University to learn learning skills. Do you see?
Wow, this is very interesting.
It is that aspect, so that took me. And I will tell you this, I think I would say that one of the greatest things I'll say I've done is that supplementary education for the black children. And because the reason why I'll say the greatest of it is because, Mr. Kolade, that project was the reason I became a local councillor.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, this is becoming even interesting than what I thought.
It was the project.
Wonderful.
You can see that everything that I did, it was the project that made me to become a local councillor. I was not interested in because I was tired of leadership. Okay. When I left Nigeria, I was frustrated. Everything leadership, no, I wouldn't accept it. Anyway. But the party is a Christian People's Party, Christian people. And they were looking for candidates. Do you understand? And they came to my church. And when they came to my church, my pastor said I should represent the church because he knows that I've been in political whatever back in Nigeria. I attended. And that was how they had interest in me and said they would rather want me to just be a paper candidate. Wow. Just my name to be on the candidate list. They don't really want me to do much. And as God will have it. In fact, being a local councillor itself is like an Obama testimony. Because you see, in Canning Town, where I got elected, a black guy can never succeed. It's the most racial borough, most racial in the whole country. Wow. Is the most Canning Town. Black people have been killed.
Wow.
Stabbed. It's serious. Now, when I was being told to be a candidate, of course, I didn't know much about all this racial stuff. But the leader of the party told me, said, Simeon, we're just asking you to become a candidate. We know you are not going to win. But at least to have your face, a black face on the We have a white, black.
Yeah, they're trying to balance the, yes,
exactly,
yes,
a white,
I understand.
black, then they have a white lady.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to have a black male as well as part of them, so that at least they will have the interest.
Kind of a balance,
Exactly.
racial
So that was
profiling, yes.
Yes. But I didn't accept initially because my wife wasn't interested. But later on, she said, okay, no problem, we should do it. And I said, no worries. At a point in time, I said, no. If I brought a friend to come and take over that space, and I told them I would sponsor the guy financially. And they said, okay, no problem. They called me later and said, no, they can't use that guy. It's either they use me or they will not use anybody else. So not because of anything, because of my because of my community, community project, because of the supplementary school project.
Yes.
That was the reason, because they see that I'm a community person and I got evidence of that. So they said it's only me that they will prefer. Now, I accepted that, and but as God will have it, I had a dream. And in that dream, I saw that 3 of us were on the stage and they lifted our hands up in victory. And I went to Alan and I told Alan Craig, I said, Alan, do you know that 3 of us were going to win this election? He said, Simeon, listen, don't raise your hope. I told you from beginning, because I wouldn't like a station that you said, say, Alan. I said, but okay, don't worry. I'm going to change my timetable. I'm going to put more time into this councillorship, and we'll see how it goes. So I wrote letters to all the Africans in Newham, in Canning Town.
Yeah.
So all the Canning Town South, I wrote letters to all of them, and I knocked all their doors. And guess what? On the election day, 3 of us won.
Wow.
The 3 of us. And my election, I became the 4th Black Christian Democratic Councillor. And there has never been another, actually.
Since then?
No.
Oh my gosh. You have a record to be broken then.
Yes, it's a record that has not been broken up till now. So, and that is just, you can see how everything has gotten to that point.
Yes.
And also, by becoming a pastor, it wasn't something I desired. I wasn't interested in becoming a pastor. It wasn't a case, no. But it's just that my pastor, at a point in time, desired, because I be the former Nigeria High Commissioner, Dr. Christopher Cllr.
All right, yes.
Yes, I started working with him on his project. I became one of the directors of his project called Managing Business for Christ. So he brought me on board. And we had a conference in my church. I used our church hall, and my pastor attended. So it was that place that my pastor saw my potential. He saw the number of people that attended, and he said, Simeon, you need to go and start a church. And that was it. He sent me out, and I became a pastor of Redeemed Christian Church of God. So you can see how everything
just works, together.
Along that line.
Very inspirational. Very inspirational. If it's okay with, I don't mind to take you back a little bit, because I'm sure our viewers will also like to understand how your core course, which is the environmental design and planning, combined with your legal studies in the UK, how that actually, contributed to your success, as a community leader and public servant. With those two backgrounds.
Yeah, I will say that if I became, for instance, I'm only saying, if I became a president of a nation, one of the things that I will ask to make compulsory in school is planning.
Right.
It will be planning. You see, they call it environmental design and planning. But the issue is this: planning itself is a day-to-day activity. Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you, sir.
Yes. Planning is, if you do it daily, everybody is a planner.
Yes.
If you don't plan, you will plan to fail. Planning, for instance, we planned this meeting.
That's correct, yes.
So we just, looking at using environment is just what you need to understand what planning is.
Yes.
If you can use one thing to understand what planning is, you'll be able to use it in financial. You believe?
Okay.
I didn't mention the fact that I was a fashion designer at the time. I'm a professional
Wow.
tailor. I can cut clothes properly.
Wow. You are multi-skilled.
Yes, I can. Of course, I work with BBC, ITV, Sky One. Yes, I used to have a label. I used to have a fashion house. I had a label, Simeon label. That is planning. It's
That's
all about,
correct.
you see, it's about planning. My ability to be a good politician is about planning, ability to plan. But you need to use something to be the focus of your planning. But you can now transfer that to everything else. Everybody will look at you and says, Simeon, you like excellence. I say, you don't understand. That is planning. It's about planning. It's about fashion. So really, and in doing the law, there's so much that everything about life is law, legal. It's out understanding what you should do legally, what you shouldn't do legally, and stuff like that.
Very true.
So really, holding the two together has helped me a lot. I've had experience of police in London, and I remember the first barrister messed the case up because he was not listening to me, and I fired him. I appointed another barrister and gave him direction. But you know that the police did not turn up when they saw the construction. And another thing, in my legal, I won the biggest case. You can Google it. I won the biggest case in planning when I was a town planner. Sorry, in parking. In parking when I was a councillor. And that is a leading case. That is the reason why all the parking attendants in the whole nation must carry camera.
Okay.
That is Simeon Adewole versus London Transport that introduced transparency in planning law, in parking law. In the whole of the nation. Do you understand? So if there is no photographic evidence, there is no offense. Because anybody can just cook up stories. But if you don't have photographic evidence to back the fact that he parked where you said he parked, and you actually issue the ticket accordingly, then no offense has been committed. And if you type Simeon Adewole versus London Transport, you are likely to win. You'll find it there. Do you understand? So you can see my planning has helped because every leader is a planner. You cannot be a successful leader if your planning is weak. That's why we see a country like ours, unfortunately, Nigeria, a lot of, when they get there is when they want to learn how to plan. You understand? No, you don't. I mean, you take 4 years learning how to plan, then execution itself, it becomes a major problem. Why? Because you don't have the background of planning. And those are the kind of things. And I still do planning now. I still work in planning. Do you understand? The consultancy work and stuff like that. And even in the legal aspect. So, but all of that has helped me to be able to reestablish myself, especially for leadership purpose.
Okay, that will lead me to my next question, because of course we would like to also understand what kind of challenges you must have faced on your journey, to either political office or how you, and other things, and how you overcame them, because that will inspire our viewers.
Okay, you're talking about challenges?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's, I mean,
expected, right?
I don't even know where to start.
I understand. I know. We all do.
Yeah. I mean, all of us, we've been, I think that is one thing all of us cannot run away from. We face every hour, every day challenges. There are just so many challenges, especially when you are representing the interest of the people.
True.
You are at the forefront. There is no way you will not be challenged politically. I mean, that's financially and stuff. I mentioned a very simple case recently where I of course, my fashion business, I went to deliver some suits, and one of the traffic warders saw the car and gave me a ticket. He wanted to give me a ticket. I drove off. I apologized. I said I was sorry, and I drove off, but he sent the ticket to my house. I was very angry, so I contested it. And one of the conditions is I did not prevent him from issuing the ticket. I didn't prevent him because the law says if I prevent him, then it's an offense. But I did not prevent him. I just drove off. I didn't push. I didn't touch, but the London Transport said, no, that wasn't correct, that I prevented him because I did not wait for him to put the ticket. I said, I can't do that. Why should I have to wait for that? That kind of a thing. Then the adjudicator accepted that I was right. Then the London Transport decided to contest against the adjudicator. So the adjudicator said, if you back off, they will take the case off on my behalf. Does that make sense? So I wasn't going to pay any money. But they have to make sure that
because they saw the merits of your argument. Yes,
my argument. So for that reason, the adjudicator used my argument and presented it because the case went to High Court and to the highest court of the land until all through that all the judges supported me and said I was right.
You're
and for that reason, and they changed the law. And the law is Simeon Adewolake's law requires that transportation, every parking attendant must be every parking offense must be backed with photographic evidence. So that became, I was on BBC, ITV and stuff like that, spoke extensively about educating people about what parking laws are and stuff like that. But a few days later, after a few months later, because that affected the revenue of some of these parking guys, especially, they sent a bailiff to my house on a fictitious parking ticket. And the bailiff wanted to gain access to the house. I said, what do you want? He said, you needed my car. He said, he pounded my car. I said, that's no problem. I gave him the key to the car and I gave him the document to the car. I said he could take it. But I remember that I've got some fabrics and some orders of the customer at the back of the car. So I went out to take everything out of the boot, to put it in the house. Then shortly after, 2 police officers arrived. When they arrived, I was shocked. I was like, what is going on? I said, but he said he wanted my car, but the car has been impounded, it's there. But they went straight into the house. My wife was in the sitting room. And that was it. You cannot believe it became a very serious case that they beat me up.
Wow.
Yes, they beat me up and stuff like that. What that was when my wife was taking. Yes, in London. Yes, I can send you facts. I was a local councillor. I've just won a very serious case nationally. I've been in the TV news and everything. Suddenly that happened. I couldn't believe it. Then they charged me to court.
Wow, this is very, very inspirational for our viewers because they need to understand what we Nigerians see in the diaspora. You understand?
Yes.
It's not all
glory and glory. It's not rosy.
No.
Every success comes with its own challenges. That kind of thing.
Wow, this is interesting.
They did that. Yes, they did that. Beat me up. Did all the things. They charged me to court and they locked me up. For the first time of my life, they put me in handcuffs. They cut my head and stuff like that. Blood everywhere. So I appear in the magistrate court. But while that was going on, my wife was taking pictures. One of the police officers took the picture, the camera, and deleted all the pictures. He deleted all the pictures and stuff like that. So when we got to the magistrate court, we got to the magistrate court. Yes, the magistrate said I was guilty. He fined me £1,000. And of course, that is criminal record and stuff like that. But I contested it. So we went to, the next court, which is, what do they call it now? We went to Snaresbrook. At Snaresbrook, before I did that, because of course my spiritual ailment can never be sidetracked, I came to Nigeria. I went to the Redeem camp. And I fasted for 3 days non-stop, and I prayed. And because of that, I had a dream. And in that dream, I saw that I was trying to take a very big pillar, massive pillar,
massive challenge.
There was no way I would be able to lift it, but there was a crane from above that came down. And with that crane was a hook. And that hook, I hook the bar on the concrete, and that was how I was
Great.
able to lift up that very big slab. On that very day, I told the guy at the reception that I was coming back to London. I came to London, and about 5 days later, we went to court. But guess what? They did not turn up. The police officer, their barrister came, and the barrister called my barrister and told him that they've lost my case file.
Miraculously.
He said they looked everywhere, they could not find the case file. I said, this is not serious. You must be joking. You don't. Said yes. My barrister came to me and said, Simeon, did you say you had a dream that your case file was lost? I said, yes. He said, actually, that is what that barrister is telling me, that they said they cannot find your case file. I said, what do you mean they cannot find my case file? But where are the police officers? He says, actually, they are not in court. And the barrister told me, the barrister called me, their barrister, I'm talking of, what's his name? The present prime minister. He was the, what's it called now? Head of, what's it called?
Stammer.
Stammer was the head of, there's the head of the Crown prosecution.
Wow.
He was the head of Crown prosecution at the time. And under his watch, a file of that magnitude was lost. They couldn't find it. You did not call to request for a duplicate from my own counsel.
This is interesting.
You had 6 months gap between the time I've appealed and the time of the case. And you said the file was lost. I could not believe it. And the fact is this. Now, of course, because of my legal knowledge, I would never leave even up to now, when I say Africans, Nigerians having cases, I don't, not that I'm going to go out, but I want to be I want to learn, I want to know your direction. I want to know the direction you are taking. I want to know the angle you want to, I can guide. I can say, no, don't even go there. That is very, and I was telling my barrister, the first barrister that got me the criminal offense was completely ignorant. He wasn't listening. All the direction I gave, he said, Simeon, we can't use that. We can't use it. I was even telling some of my guys, I said, this guy doesn't understand what I know. I'm also a graduate of law. This guy cannot. And when he messed it up, and I told him he was not going to continue, he was almost going to be, I guess, you are not continuing with this case. I said, you are so out of order. You are not even taking that. I'm going to pay you your money, no problem, but you are not continuing this case. You are not the kind of barrister I need. I went to call Paul Diamonds. The moment I called Paul Diamonds, the moment they saw the name of Paul Diamonds, they have to throw away the file. They know it's no longer
yeah.
Because they know Paul Diamonds listens. It takes directions. It's not going to do, so they throw away the file. And when they throw away the file, anyway, they said, we got to, what's it called? Town court. Then the judge there were 3 of them. The judge was like, Mr. Ademolake, can you stand up? I stood up. He said, it's very, very encouraging that a Nigerian guy can come to this nation and have a reputation that I have.
Wow.
He said, you have driven in this country for then, I think it was 27 years without 1 point on your license. He says you have never had a criminal record, not even a caution. You've never been stopped by the police in your number of years in this country. You are a community leader. You are a fashion designer of a very reputable standard. You are also a pastor of a church. He said, British should celebrate people like you. On behalf of the Queen, I want to apologize to you.
Wow.
I'm going to make demands that all the money you've spent will give. I was crying.
Wow.
He said, he told me, he said, can you imagine? They wasted your time. They put you, or they gave you bad press. He said he cannot understand why the legal system of this nation has not developed beyond this level. He said that the police are not in court. They know this case has been slated. The bailiff is no longer to be found. Everything, they said they did it
because they know they are guilty. So,
what are you talking about? Because why would you delete
the
pictures?
case pictures and case file of such a sensitive.
You throw away exactly. So you did that, and you know what? That was how everything was thrown out of court, and as I awarded costs.
Wow.
Yes, I was awarded cost, and for that reason, I'm thinking, when you are moving in the right direction, you need to also be very careful, because there are some things that are hidden now.
True.
When that time comes, when you become a success,
yes,
those things will emerge. There is no way, except you don't want to be a success. If you don't want to be a success, you can do things. For instance, let's imagine if I've been driving carelessly, if I've been assaulting or been involved in any illegal malpractices, even, do you understand?
I do. I mean, I'm very impressed with what you're saying, Mr. Ademolake, because this will actually also inspire and encourage our viewers, especially, and those viewers in Nigeria that are planning to become part of us in the diaspora, because these are the kind of things that I also preach. You need to have a footprint, and that footprint should help you in whatever you want to do in future. Please, sorry for budging, but I just got carried away with your storyline. It's very, very impressive. Please carry on, sir.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. If you wherever you are going, you see that case, they went as far back to Nigeria. Not only did they did all the investigation, they investigated me up to my Nigeria records. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Lot of sense.
Brought me to this nation. Do you understand? And everything I've done here, up to that level and all those. And the good thing about it, my neighbor where I live worked with the police.
Wow.
And I never knew. Until the police came to my house and all those, and he came to me and he said, Simeon, if you need character reference, I will give you. And I said, oh, okay, Lawrence, you're just going to write as my neighbor, isn't it? All my neighbors are writing. So he said, no. Simeon, you don't know that actually I work with the police.
Wow.
To be honest with you, Lawrence was like, do you know, Lawrence came to the court. He attended physically. He came. And some of the police officers, when they saw him, he told them, you've picked a wrong guy. He told them, he said, how did you guys got it wrong? You picked a wrong guy. Yeah, he told them. While I was standing, the three police officers were standing like this. He said, you picked the wrong guy. He said, how did he get it wrong? You picked Simeon. No. This guy, everybody on the streets loves him. Because I'm very handy. I can do plumbing. I can do electrical. I can do carpentry. So any of them that have issues with I'll be there. Sort it out. No money paid. Boiler, I'll sort it out for them. So there is hardly any of them on my street that don't have my name in their house.
In their house, yeah.
He told them, he said, in the house, he said, you picked the wrong guy. He said, community work he does. The neighbors, the children, they attend for free. So he teaches them freely. So you see, the judge, it was like my days of recommendation. Honestly, the press that were there, all of them, everybody was like, oh my God, this guy, are you saying you are different. It's not about being different. It's about the fact that...
Excuse me, yes.
No problem.
No, go on, please go on.
But coming to this nation, coming to a country like Nigeria,
yeah.
Coming to a country like London from Nigeria does not mean that you have to do all the wrong things. You can do all the right things. You can do the right things too. You can,
well.
I'm not saying that in all the cases I'm above, but at least make sure that if you make mistake, you make it right.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. That will actually bring me into the pastoral and community, side of you, if I may say. Now, tell my viewers, please, as a pastor of Harvest Chapel RCCG, how do you balance spiritual leadership with your responsibilities as a public servant and community advocate?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you see, I would say one thing. Whatever you are used to do, you've been engaged with, you understand, in your life, can only help you better. Do you understand? Whether if you can only when you get to the highest or the echelon of your discipline or your career, whatever you've been doing. For instance, I've been used to fasting. So it's not like I'm now going to be encouraged. I fasted. My former pastor will say, Simeon, every time of your life you fast. You fast. That kind of a thing. So fasting is a lifestyle. You understand? So that's very important. And prayer is a lifestyle. Prayer. Living within a respected name. Very, very important. There used to be something a friend of mine gave me many years ago. Is a write-up in a small plate, which I put on my wall. And it says, if life does not give you what you want, rejoice that you are alive. Be sober and take medium cost to all things. It says, as long as life lasts, always try to leave behind a respected name. It says, if life does not give you what you like what you get. That kind of a thing. Now, this is simple, and that has ever helped me. So make sure that you leave behind a respected name. Being a people person is as very common in business, so also is common in the church. You need to be a busy people person. You need to be empathic towards people. I'd hate to see people suffer. Yeah. That is why I started the supplementary education. So it's not different in church. I think spirituality itself is not something that you learn when you become a pastor. It's something you have to carry with you. But I know the commitment of pastor is also very important. It's a lot in terms of, but I need to tell you, it's not different to the political system. You meet people every day, you counsel them every day, and although some of them we have to fast together, some of them we have to take practical steps, some of them we have to take a legal step. Some of themselves will be about planning, financial, and stuff like that. So a lot of those things are within my scope. And it's something I've developed myself along that line, in my being. So becoming a pastor wasn't a difficult situation as well. And very fortunately, I have a team of guys around me also that have the same focus. And it's so easy for us to just manage and make sure that we do not overstress.
Okay, that's very interesting. I mean, for the sake of our viewers, especially those in your community and maybe around London and UK, I'd like us to talk a little bit more about Arise and Glow Supplementary School. Now, I know you've talked about how you started it and how God made it and you got your first step, but it will also help our viewers to understand what actually inspired you and how has it transformed the lives of children in your community for the past 25 years?
Fantastic. I think I'll say this is the best question out of them all. Yes. That's Arise and Glow is my baby project.
I can see.
When I talk about Arise and Glow, I talk about Arise and Glow with passion. And that's because of the number of children that their life has been transformed.
Good.
I saw a church and their motto is transforming life. When I saw that, I said, that's actually what Arise and Glow does.
Mm.
And I remember at a time I was about to preach at a church, and the Spirit of the Lord ministered to me that I'm a future generation developer. And why? It's because my interest, I love to see those children develop into success, real success in life.
In life, right.
I was at a program Christmas, Mr. Cllr, this last Christmas. I was almost like,
oh dear.
This Christmas, the MP was there, the mayors, all those, everybody were there. And a gentleman, a friend of mine, was asked to preach. And he preached and he told us a story. And one of the story that, of course, he's not a pastor of a church, of churches maybe. But he was mentioning and he was talking about how he has been to the prison, how he has been involved with drugs, all this, that. And God transformed his life and he became a success. And I never knew that about him. You understand? Until that experience. But this is the point. I looked at all the children that the Arise and Glow project have supported and have become amazing success. They never gone through the path of prison. You don't have to be a success by going through the prison life before you have an amazing testimony. It doesn't have to be difficult.
True.
And that is the purpose in which I started Arise and Glow. Arise and Glow project was started with the mindset that the money that should be in rehabilitation should be spent in creation. Creating leaders that will not require rehabilitations. Do you understand? That is exactly what Arise and Glow has done. And Arise and Glow, by the grace of God, I've told you how we started. We supported over 4,000 students.
Wow.
And let me now tell you the biggest testimony. When I became a local councillor, the only motion that I moved, one of the motions that I moved, was that the Newham Council should support supplementary education in Newham. And because I was the only opposition and I was the only Nigerian in the council, yes?
Yeah.
By the grace of God, the one thing that you expect is for that motion to be thrown out, regardless of whether it's an objective motion or not. Exactly, because they would not want to give credence to an opposition. To have moved such a, they can throw it out and they will twist that motion and represent it.
Yes.
And it will become a labor motion. You understand? But as God will have it, the mayor stood up. This mayor is not only against our party, but against everything that we stood for. But when he stood up, he supported that motion.
Wow.
And for the very first time and only time in the history of Newham, opposition motion was voted unanimously by everybody within the council that Newham Council should support supplementary education in Newham. But this is now the snag. Do you say that is positive, isn't it, Mr. Cllr?
Yeah, it sounds positive. Yeah,
very positive. But
I lived in Newham as well, some years back. So I'm enjoying this interesting story.
Okay, now this is the snag. This is now the funny. When that happened, I was very happy. I got home. I got to church. I spoke about it. I was going to different churches speaking about the supplementary education and what is going to happen. The life of our children will get better because there is government white paper that has recorded the black children, especially of the black boys of ethnic minority origin. The black boys, they are underachieving. And it is happening at a very alarming rate. And if care is not taken, it could destroy the body positive of this nation. of the future of this nation. And I've seen that. And when that was approved, when the motion was passed, I was ecstatic, going everywhere. But this is what happened. The mayor knew that has been done, and what they should do is to give supplementary education the support they need to grow. But what did he do? He would not want Christian People's Alliance or myself to have the credibility of such achievement. He now duplicated what we do. And how did he do that? He made sure that all Newham schools start supplementary education, and he made it free. So which means we that were charging £2.50 an hour, we will no longer have students. Since the student that will come to us
are already getting it free from the school.
From school. So that was what he did.
Wow.
At the moment he did that, it did not stop me, because actually my focus is for us to duplicate supplementary education everywhere. Mine is not a business, it's a charity. I'm not running a business. I've never made money from that project. The future of the children is more important to me than that. In fact, I will be calling parents and say, do you know, are your children going to supplementary school? Say no. Say why? Because we can't afford it. You don't have to go. Their school is running free one. Go to their school that is free one. Do you know that exercise that the mayor did? If you read the book of Nehemiah, it was exactly like that. Sanballat and Tobiah were against the vision of Nehemiah. And when he was going to build the wall, and he said to them, he said, listen, we cannot follow them. We're going to do the vision according to what we've received, the same way. And the mayor of Newham duplicated supplementary education. Now, that step is the reason why Newham education system has now improved right across the globe. That one of the best schools in Newham, one of in the nation, is in Newham. Why? Because the children now had extra teaching, and that really did the magic. Before Saturday, before Arise and Glow, education in Newham was at the lowest level of the national statistics. But today, we are flying. Do you understand? Supplementary education. Do you understand? And the reason is not because the mayor wanted to do it, no.
Yeah, I know, of course.
It was an aggressive opposition, competition to bring down the privately owned supplementary schools. Does that make sense?
It does make sense to me. I understand the politics.
It was a plus for me.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I started the supplementary school was not because to pay my bills. It was for the life of the black children to get better. And it is so amazing to now see that some of those children that we started these are now doctors, lawyers, accountants. Yes, in fact, when I see some of them on the road, one of them just donated some money to Arise and Glow. I looked, I said, you were crying in class before that. You know?
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. You will be so surprised that single step, and he will see me, the mayor will see me in the council, and he will be looking at, he was trying to find out what is it that is making this guy happy all the time. That despite the fact that I've created something that can affect
lives,
affect him, affect me
I
as a person. Do you understand? Still,
you still excel.
But I'm very happy. He duplicated supplementary school across Newham, and that is now the basics. You know, number one, you created extra money for the teachers.
That's correct.
Because even it's free, you have to pay the teacher. That is extra income.
Yes.
So everywhere I go, the teachers likes me.
That's the man that made it for us. Interesting.
Yeah. Not only that, they have less stress in school now. Because a lot of time they have idle time. They are engaging in all those unnecessary malpractices. They are somewhere after school being trained and taught. So when I see a child on the street, I say, boy, why are you not in supplementary school? They say, oh, no, it's because I'm helping my mom today. So it was all, the whole Newham now have supplementary education. Because I, by the grace of God, was able to push
that agenda.
That agenda. And that is where we are today. That Newham has now is in fact Newham. Check Newham education system. In fact, there is another school they invited me recently, Kingsford. Kingsford has now been recorded as one of the most improved secondary school in the world.
Wow.
Kingsford in Beckton.
That's still in Newham.
Newham, yes, is now one of the 10 most improved secondary school in the world. Google it.
Wow.
Kingsford.
That's very interesting. That will bring me to technology as well, because we are now in the age of technology. So now, still talking about Arise and Glow, how do you think Arise and Glow addresses critical gaps in education for young boys and girls? Now, and how do you ensure that the school meets the evolving needs of its students? And talking about NACADE, which is side of in terms of technology, how can they kind of, collaborate or help to amplify your reach and the impact you are making in the community?
Oh, wow, thank you. That's one area that has always been a very big challenge. You understand? For me as a person, I have to say that I've been the projects Arise and Glow started 25 years ago. I'm not a young man any longer.
By God's grace.
When I tell some people, I tell them I'm
but you don't look it.
I'm not a retired man. I said, are you retired man? This is what I can say.
Yeah.
There are so many of my students at the moment that are teachers. In fact, there's now a deputy head of a secondary school.
Right.
By God's grace, next year is going to become the head of the secondary school. We're working towards that, because when they leave, they don't just leave. Some of them that are close, I still mentor them and stuff like that. So we work. Not only that, the good thing about it, some of them that want to become a teacher, they will come to her for the experience. So we coach them so they can go for. And some of their parents that wants to become a teacher, they come to us and they come and do the teaching experience with us and stuff like that. Now, when you come to the area of technology you are talking about, I've always been thinking about how we can deploy technology. But to be honest with you, I don't think I've been able to do it properly. And the reason being that I just have my hands in so many areas of things. I have projects in Africa, in Nigeria. I have church to manage. I have the Arise and Glow. I still teach on Arise and Glow project. I still teach maths and there. I'm still involved I'm the chairman of the Supplementary school in Newham. So I'm involved in that and stuff like that. So the technology aspect, I know that definitely is vital. And another thing I need to know for Mr. Cllr is this. Yes. This is very, very important. Arise and Glow has never applied for funding. We're not a funding organization. We're a charity organization. We don't use funding. We charge £2.50 an hour. Since we started the project, which was £1.75 an hour, 25 years later, we are £2.50 an hour. Does that make sense?
I'm seeing the.
So we're not really with a self-funded organization. We don't do. I've never filled an application for funding. Never. A lot of people will come to me and say, "Please, we want to start supplementary school. Can you help us?" I said, "Yes." By the time we get to, how do you get money? I said, we don't do funding. I said, how do you pay your bills, teachers, and stuff like that? I said, listen, we don't do funding. If I have money, I would donate to Arise and Glow and stuff like that and stuff, So when God is in a thing, is in a thing. But we don't do funding. But we still have enough students to cover our bills.
Your bills.
We have enough students to cover our bills. I'm not going to say, because it will be very impractical to say that maybe I pay all the money to Arise and no. It's not like I don't give money to Arise and Glow, but I don't give if I don't feel like giving.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense, yes.
Arise and Glow have sufficient numbers of children that even the £2.50 an hour, if you put it together, it's
Meets the
sufficient to pay the
obligation.
teachers
Yeah.
and all those. And what it has helped us to do also is it has helped us not to over expand or be unreasonable in our
Overtrade
thinking.
itself. Yes.
You understand? Because when you get funding, you begin to do something that you cannot sustain when the funding is out. And that's why some of lofty charity organizations,
Yeah.
they've come and gone. Why? Because they rely so much on funding. Arise and Grow is self-sustained. Since we started 25 years ago, it's self-sustained. And Arise and Grow, if you continue in the same format, even if I'm no longer the chief executive, if the new chief executive will continue to use the model that I put in place and everything, that organization will run forever.
Okay.
Do you understand? There is no, and Arise and Grow is not an organization that has ever lacked money. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
We have never lacked money, as in, and we charge £2.50 an hour. Do you understand? We have never been positioned.
That gives a sense of the number of students you have and how robust and everything is for you to be able to sustain. Very interesting.
Exactly. So that's the case. So if anybody comes to me and say there's any funding going anywhere, I'll tell them we don't chase funding. We don't. No. And if anybody says you want to give us money, I say, oh yeah, if you want to give us money, that's okay. But to be honest, we don't go for people and say, can you please give us this? Nah.
Right.
We don't.
Well, in that case, sir, what are your future plans for expanding the impact of Arise and Glow and for strengthening your community work?
My sister-in-law asked me that question.
I'm sure viewers would like to know.
The answer I gave her, the answer I gave her was like, she looked at me and said, Uncle, you are just very contented.
Which is very good. It's a good trait.
Yeah, I just feel so like at the moment, expansion is not as easy. You know, because that is why planning is very important. You know, expansion is not as easy, you know, because there is no way such expansion will not overstretch the person.
True.
Except you have somebody that is also selfless. That is not, that has a way of meeting his own financial needs. You know, because of course I have my financial needs. I have, do you understand? In fact,
of course, everybody does. Yes.
A financial need. So I can't ask somebody to leave that financial needs and come and be part of Arise and Glow, because Arise and Glow is not that robust financially. Now, I have my ways of meeting my own financial needs from other aspects of things that I do and stuff like that. And in course of that, I can even say, oh, you know what, the Arise and Glow, I use the office as well. I'll pay the office off this month. Or for the next 6 months, I'll pay the office, whereas Anglo doesn't pay anything and stuff like that. We share the bills and stuff like that.
Balance it out.
Balance it out. So it has to take someone who also have that mindset, has had a good planning for his own financial needs, to be able to pay us off and be able to still have time to be able to do those things. So really, when you're talking about expansion, what we're talking about is ability to take one man and be able to meet its financial needs fully to the tune of maybe 50-something thousand pounds per year or 40-something thousand pounds per year. Do you understand?
I do.
Do you understand? So that is where expansion is extremely difficult. Do you understand? Because we don't have a model where we'll be able to achieve that humongous payment to one person. Do you understand that? You know, but it would be nice if we can do that. Do you understand? If we can actually look into that and find someone that we can pay us that much money, and possibly for the person to now be able to divide. Maybe it's something we have to look. But at the moment, I think we're just within the coast. I mean, you've been to our building. You saw the building.
Yeah.
Fortunately, 5-story building with all the stuff and everything there and all that. We're able to cover costs. We're able to cover bills. We're able to do that. Now, to expand would be, let me say, the expand would be to use technology. That will be the next step. The expansion now can only be for us to use technology. You know, because if we can use technology, then it will take us completely away, and we could still even be charging £1 an hour if we use technology. You understand? And we will get the numbers and stuff like that. If they see that the quality of what we deliver is according to the national curriculum and the standardized, that kind of a thing. But I think technology.
I have to come and talk to you then.
But seriously, I think it's something we need to do. The technology may be the only way, but our ability to expand by location in terms of having
required, yes,
that would be difficult.
That's very interesting. My next question is more for our viewers. Now, what advice would you give to young Nigerians in the diaspora who is aspiring to, to achieve that leadership role in politics, education, or community service, perhaps?
Look for a mentor. Very important. Look for a mentor. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Somebody has been through it, has failed, has risen up. This is what my mentor told me. He said, way of advice is better than a way of experience. And he says, experience that you cannot buy, you borrow. Because experience, personal experience, is very, very, very expensive.
True.
If you want to go through yourself, you want to experience it yourself, it's very expensive. So look for a mentor, look for somebody that has been there, who is selfless, who has the same focus as you, who you think you can listen to. That's very important. Look for such a person and see to guide you. Then don't be lazy in learning. Don't be lazy in learning.
That's very deep.
Yeah, don't be lazy in learning. I tell people I'm a student of life and I'm a student for life. I speak to you from Rome today. I was at Basilica yesterday, at Vatican. I was learning. I wasn't there I was seeing things, but I was learning. I had a tour guide that cost me quite a bit of money. He was teaching me more than anybody that came who could understand, that kind of a thing. Let me say this, Mr. Kolade.
Yes, please.
Nehemiah chapter 2, and I'm not going to make it more, but this is just a great book. Bible is a great book to read, and it gives us something from fundamentals. In Nehemiah, it says, the king saw that Nehemiah's eyes was sorrowful, very sorrowful, and he asked him what was going on, and he told him, you see, for you to become a leader, it has to be something that is causing you pain. Not for money. If you want to be a leader because you want to have money, you will not have fulfillment. Do you understand? Money does.
I do.
Being rich and being fulfilled are two different things.
Yes.
Do you understand? You may be fulfilled and still not become a multimillionaire, but you still have so much fulfillment. Why? Because you have been able to provide a solution. There is a topic I preach on a message called solution provider. I said the S in that solution is being sorrowful. So if something does not cost you pain, have you been through it before? Is there any challenge with it? Look at the Uber that all of us will take seriously today. It was a pain that cost it.
It's a pain that cost it. Yes.
Does that make sense? So if there is if there is no pain behind what you want to do, then it may be difficult for you to actually have fulfillment at the end of it, because there are two things that you have at the end of a successful project: fulfillment and financial liberation.
Yeah.
If you have financial liberation, not fulfillment, to be honest with you, it's not grounded. So I'm going to ask those young children, those younger, be looking at those areas of your life that you think you have been battered, you have been discouraged, it hurts you the most. Make that your ambition more, to say, okay, I want to solve this problem. I want to solve this problem. By the time you become a solution provider, you find out that then the more solution you provide in that respect, the more you find your life being fulfilled. And you find out that you'll be looking younger than your age.
Wow.
You could be rich and you could be old.
Wow.
But fulfillment is the one that gives you the inner vibes that makes you younger. Because you sleep well, you wake up well. Why? Because you know you are fulfilling something.
Wow. Good. Thank you very much for that inspiring, response. And I'm sure our viewers will key into what you've just, advised them on. Now, Mr. Ademolake, are you ready for some fun? Can we have some quick fire questions? I'm sure you are ready. You're always ready. Eh?
I'm not sure for that. Yes.
All right. Living in London, how do you maintain your Nigerian heritage while serving the broader community?
Oh, yes, very important. I'm a natural. I like to be a natural person. I don't like fake life. Do you understand?
That's very good.
And I'm very happy with where I'm from. You understand? I'm very, very happy. I don't want to become somebody else. You understand? And so when I see my Nigerian brothers, I speak my language.
Good.
I don't have any problem with that. I will speak my language. Even if they don't speak Yoruba to me, I'll speak Yoruba to them. That kind of a thing. When I see them on the plane, I do that. I wear Nigerian culture. For the whole of yesterday in Italy, while I was going around, I was wearing my native attire.
Wow.
I can send it to you. And a lot of them, anybody, they say, Assalamu alaikum. I say, no, I'm a Christian. That kind of thing.
They do that to me a lot because of my beard. The people say, oh, Afa. I'm not Afa.
Yeah, that's the thing. So my Nigerian heritage, my Yoruba heritage, I'm the chairman of Nigerian Community in Newham.
Okay.
So yes, I'm chairman of Nigerian Community in Newham. Anything that Nigerians are doing, I'm not far from it at all. I'm back by the Kanuk, Nigerian community. Yes, I'm very much involved. I was still at their Christmas party with my full agbada.
Oh dear, that's good.
Yes. I identify so much with my Nigeria. I still eat my Nigerian food. I like my pounded yam egusi soup.
That's my next question. But go on, please. Tell us about your Nigerian food.
Yes. I still try to eat Nigerian food. I'll always prefer Nigerian food over any other food. There's no thinking about that. So I admire those that because it's very important for us not to lose our originality.
Very good.
Do you understand? Very, very important for us not to lose our originality. And the moment the language changes, most of dressing changes, the food changes, then what is left for you to be original?
True.
So those are the kind of things. But my main food, I like pounded yam and efori.
And efori. Just like me. But that's my second best. My best food is amala. And abula. Of course, I'm a bad man.
Okay, that's why. Yes. Pounded yam. I'm an Egba man. I probably would have said lafun, but no. But I had too much lafun in my lifetime.
I can
imagine. If you give me lafun now, no, I'll tell you no, thank you.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you very much for that. Now that we're coming towards the end of the podcast, what's one word that describes your journey so far and why?
Oh, wow. Wow. I've always said
that's
this.
thought-provoking.
No, my family will always tell you, if you ask, what does daddy say the most? It's unusual kindness to all men.
Yeah.
That's my watchword. Unusual kindness to all men. Wherever you find yourself, wherever you are doing, make people's interests, your kindness to all mankind, make it your focus. If all of us in this life can have unusual kindness to ourselves, unusual, not usual,
Unusual.
kindness
That's
to
a key word.
ourselves. Yes. You will find out that this world will become a beautiful place. Don't be self-centered. Instead, be selfless. A city on the hill can never be hidden. And this is very important. Very, very important. Mr. Cllr, I will not stress this enough. Like I said, unusual kindness to all men. It's also imperative for every man to know this. Service to many leads to greatness.
Very deep.
Service to self leads to personal gratification and nothing else. But genuine service to many leads to greatness. If you can expand on that, you find out that the whole world is yours and nothing can stop you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Coming to the end of the podcast, please, sir, how can our audience connect with you, learn more about your political surgery, church, and Arise and Glow, and benefit from the services that you provide? Please feel free to tell our viewers your number, your whatever you means or medium you want them to use in contacting you, because I'm sure they found your storyline to be very impressive. It's a good footprint they would like to follow, and I'm sure after this episode they would like to reach out to you. So please advise our viewers how they can connect with you.
Okay. Strictly, we have a website. We have a website for the church. We have a website for the Arise and Glow Supplementary School. We have Facebook pages and stuff like that. The email I'll give one email that I will always respond to. And yes, and that is ariseandglow@gmail.com. ariseandglow@gmail.com. Yes, please, if you need anything from me, you want me to speak to you, you want to do anything, it's better for you to send that email first. After the email, then we will now look at what other modes of communication we can deploy, or that kind of a thing. But please use Arise and be spelled out properly. Don't use the and as in what's it called? Just spell it AND. Don't use a sign. Arise and Glow @gmail.com. Please, if you can use that, it comes directly to my phone and I will respond immediately to whatever your request is. And that's it.
Thank you very much,
You're welcome.
Councillor Ademolake, for having you on our podcast today. And to you, our viewers, once again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. Please continue to join us and explore naked.org to stay connected to your culture and community. Follow us for more inspiring stories like this. Thank you. Bye and God bless.